welcome to Board Game Batcave. This week, our game of the week is K2, the mountain climbing game. We're going to tell you a bit what we think about it in the 4 categories: gameplay, replayability, theme, and components. And we're going to start down there on that end.
Why do I always have to go first?
Because we all feed off of what you say.
Yeah. All right. So components. I'm going to, this is probably going to get about a 6 on components. Not that there's really anything wrong with them, it's just that there's not a whole lot, there's not a lot special to it. You know, the meeples are just your basic wooden meeples, and the board itself kind of small, and just, again, there's really nothing wrong with it. It all works and it looks okay, but it's just, you don't really get a deluxe feeling from it or anything like that. So I'm going to give it a 6.
I think I'm going to agree with you quite a bit on this. I mean, the color is there for each player to differentiate their players and their components and everything, but I mean, really calling this a mountain climber and this a tent is pushing it quite a bit. I get the general idea of what they're supposed to be, but it is really basic. The cards that the cards that come with the game, I mean, there's some okay artwork on it. I've seen better, I've seen worse, but there's nothing really special about any of the components of the game that really just struck me as being cool. I'm going to give it a 5, actually.
Yeah, it'd be average. Yeah.
Yep. So I think it was. You know, you can play the game with it. You're not lacking anything, but nothing is really standing out, in my opinion, as a really cool game piece.
I mean, I can't argue with that. This game has been out long enough, and it's hard enough to get that they could bring out another edition of this game and really beef up the components, I think. And so I know they had to make some money on it, because I know a lot of people like this game, and so I'm gonna have to go with the 5 also, I think, because this is about middle of the road average. It's not flimsy cardboard and stuff like that, which would bring it down, but it's also, I mean, they literally could have used anything for the people.
Well, how many games do we see nowadays where we really talk it up in the game components? I mean, this could have been a little plastic mini of an actual mountain climber, and then I would have been more impressed with it. Yeah. I would have bumped it up a couple of points, but whenever it's just a wooden meeple, meh, it's okay, but it's nothing to write home about.
It's the definition of adequate.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
It was just enough to make it work, but really no more than that. So I agree.
Alright, so that takes us to our second category, which is theme. And I was a little skeptical. I wanted to play the game, but I was a little skeptical that you would really feel like you're trying to make it to the summit. But I felt it when we started playing, and you're trying to work your way up the mountain. You're trying to figure out the best route. You're dealing with weather. You've got other climbers in your way, things like that. It's somehow they were able to translate just from this simple board and some cards to where you really feel like you're trying to get to the top of this mountain. So for me, I thought the theme really came through, and it felt like a mountain climbing experience, I guess, instead of just a fun game, you know. So I'm gonna go up to a 7.5 on there, just because I wasn't sure how they were going to bring out mountain climbing, but they did it, I think. So I'll go 7.5.
I think theme is a lot better than the components. You know, there are 100 games out there where you're a pirate. There's 100 games where you're a zombie, or you're an alien, or you're trying to
those.
Yeah, never. And I don't know how many mountain climbing games there are out there, but this is the only one I've played, and I thought it had all the, a lot of cool things about it that made it seem like a mountain climbing game to me. There's a lot of, different pieces that you've got to worry about the weather. You've got to worry about the routes you're going up, how cold it is, the frost line or whatever it's called whenever you get it further. There's a lot of components in there that invoke mountain climbing to me. So it was a theme I hadn't seen very often, and I thought they did very well on it. It made me feel like this is a complete mountain climbing game.
Yeah, hard to describe why, but you feel it.
I could have played another pirate game and be like, but whenever Chris said, oh, let's play this mountain climbing game, I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. I never played one before, and I was not disappointed. I thought the theme was pretty cool. So I'm going to give it an 8.
Mm-hmm. I think we've established that he should listen to me more often when I tell him to play games. I'd heard a lot of good things about this game going into it, and so I had a pretty high expectation. As far as the theme, this is probably where you hit it out of the park. I mean, the guy that wrote the game or made the game is a known avid mountain climber, so he knew exactly what to put in to make it feel like a mountain climbing game, and he did it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a theme you ever see. It's just not, and it's not something that I would like. If I heard, mountain climbing game, well, you rush out and get that, because the first thing that comes to my mind is like on The Price is Right, where that little guy goes up and is like climbing to the top of the mountain and yodeling. And the theme itself, if I had not heard good things about this game, I would not have rushed out to buy it. So the theme is probably where this, in my mind, wins out, or at least is one of the major contributing factors of this being a fun game. And I'm going to go all the way to 9 with the theme, because that is why I play the game now, is to get that feeling, because it actually makes you feel like when your guy's about to die, you start feeling like a little tension in your chest,
panicky,
like I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm running out of oxygen.
Why didn't I put up my tent? That's all I had to do.
Yeah, that was it's getting a 9 out of me for theme.
All right, so that brings us around then to gameplay itself, and we've kind of been leading into that. The theme really puts you in the mindset of this game, and the gameplay to me really shined. I thought it was a lot of fun. We haven't played it a whole lot of times, but I think I've tried a different strategy every time. Some better than others, but
How many times have you died out of all those times?
Well, anyway.
Still haven't found a strategy yet that stops that from happening.
So, a fun game to play, up to 5 players. I have not played it with 5 players yet, and I would bet that would be pandemonium, which is fun. So, I'm going to go with an 8.0 on it. It's not probably the first game I would run to, but if anybody ever wanted to play it, I would pull up a seat pretty quick, so I'll give it an 8.
I think gameplay, what I liked about the game, there are several ways you could go about it. Several strategies. I don't think I've made very many of those strategies work for me, but I've tried several strategies. Tried playing it smart and slow, tried playing it half smart and slow, half going crazy and getting as far as I can up the mountain as quick as I can, and then sometimes just going crazy out, both guys up as fast as I can. There's some strategies to this game, and it's just finding a common ground that works well for you. And the gameplay, I did find, it is one of those games where you can make it harder for the other players. You can almost play against them, but you're also trying to do the best you can. And I found that the gameplay really did make me feel like I was playing a mountain climbing game, a really good mountain climbing game. So I'm going to give this an 8 also, because I think the gameplay was quite a bit above average for a game.
Yeah. Gameplay, and it's not to be confused with replayability, because gameplay for me, it made everything work, but it fell short in the fact that it was almost too simple. So once you figured out you could all plan several moves ahead and how to block people, and
Yeah.
I wanted a little bit more of a challenge on the actual things that could come up to mess with you. I know the weather. I mean, the weather is supposed to do that, but it seemed like you can see the weather 6 days ahead, and if you're any kind of planner, you can plan for all that. And so the gameplay, I'm going to give a 7, but a 7.5 if you use Sherpa jokes while you play it. So 7.5, since that's what we do every time.
Yeah.
All right, and then we like to wrap it up with replayability. And for me, it's pretty high, but maybe not as high as you might think from the previous comments and all. But and I guess mainly for what Chris had just mentioned, there are parts of this game, it seems, after only playing it a few times, but there are parts of this game that you can kind of figure out pretty quick. But still haven't made it to the summit and lived yet, so
No.
who knows? But as I just said, though, if anybody ever asked if I wanted to play K2, I would pull up a chair. So it's going to get a pretty high rating just because I enjoyed the experience. But a lot of times for me, replayability is I want a different experience with the same game. And I'm not sure about that. I think you're going to have the same experience, which is fun. But it's not going to be a lot of, it's not going to be evolving a lot. I could be wrong because we've only played it a handful of times. But so for me, replayability is kind of a 50-50, which I guess will have to come in at about a 6.
Not quite 50-50.
We'll let him slide on that because he's always going to start first. So. Replayability, I just made fun, but I think I'm going to agree with you quite a bit on that. The reason I would want to replay this game is if there were more players.
Yeah, I want to see what that'd be like.
And to continue to work on some strategy that I've tried out a little bit first, and it didn't quite work, but I thought I could tweak it and it might work better next time.
Yeah.
I would see that personally, and I would play this game if we all got together and somebody said, "Hey, let's play K2," and I'd give her a play. Mm-hmm. It's not a game that I'm personally going to bring up and say, it's game night, we're going to play K2, or that's my vote, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's an interesting enough game where I would play it, and several times again, but it's not a game that I'm going to personally bring up. So I'm going to say it's about a 6 for me also. Yep, I'm going to agree with you. So
Follows the crowd.
yeah, I'm a joiner.
Replayability. This is one of those games I'm just making up a word now for it, that a category of games.
Kaswoogle. That's
It's a
a
good
made-up word for sure.
It's a Kaswoogle game. It is.
Is that with a K?
Well, yeah, it's
C.
It's a
K2.
J, but silent.
It's got a silent J.
Yeah, it's got to.
But it's a diminishing return game, so that the first time you play it, I loved it.
Yeah.
The second time I played it, it was still fun, but it wasn't the same amount of fun as the first game because there wasn't enough new happening in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think and I've played it, I think 3 times now maybe. Each time we play it, I think I'm going to enjoy it maybe just a little bit less than I did the first. And so I'm looking at, whereas some really great games, I can not see the life I'm going to have. I'm going to play this until I like it. I don't see me getting tired of this game.
Yeah.
Right.
This one I can see it eventually happening because maybe I have to get another expansion, or maybe we can play with 5 players. It'll change it up enough. But right now, every time I play it, I feel like I'm losing a little bit of the fun that I had the first time I played it. So
Shelf life of about 5 more plays for you, and then it's...
I would give it 10 total plays.
Yeah.
Which is what all I expect out of a board game when I buy
Yeah,
one.
well, that's true.
I expect if I get 10 plays out of a game in its life, I think I have money well spent.
I think you're right.
So that is definitely, it's a money well spent game. You'll enjoy the heck out of it, especially the first time, maybe the first 2 or 3 times you play it.
Yeah.
If you change up the number of people. But as far as replayability goes, that's going to take some away from my score. But I'm going to go higher than the 6. I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
what we know of K2, we've never actually climbed K2. Have any of y'all climbed the mountain before? I've never
don't.
Fine mount.
Your stairs to your apartment are not.
Third floor, and I get winded every day. Every day.
So maybe we just don't know enough about climbing mountains, but you know, you take for what you've seen this before. So our score is going to go right here, and I think it's still a great game, and maybe you would like it too. So until next time, signing out.
See ya.
See ya.